ready for the world's greatest Arsenal podcast. Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Enjoy the show.
Hello, welcome back to Guns and Yellow Ribbons live. You are listening and watching to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. I'm Fergus, I'm your host. I'm joined by old man Trev, Big T, Big Tony, and not so big Steve. And people on the video will see that Steve's lost nearly 7 stone. We'll get into that in a few minutes. Listen, it's the first game back. We've looked at the Brentford game that we've been to, some of us. Couldn't for various reasons. Then we'll look ahead to the Chelsea game. And just a general Gooner debate. Steve, do not turn sideways. We will not see you if you turn sideways.
Hey, stop blowing smoke up my arse. I'm not there yet, but thank you very much. So obviously in the off season, well, actually, it was the morning before the Fulham game. That was an absolute shambles. I went and had a gastric sleeve. I've been on a few podcasts since, I think, but just to recap, I had a gastric sleeve, which is essentially where they remove 80% of your stomach. And since 16th of April, I've lost almost 1.5 stone, probably more because I weigh in on Fridays. So I'm getting there. So I'll definitely looking forward to being back up the Emirates this season. Just being able to fucking walk around, like
language.
Walk.
Listen, language. There's only one bit of language allowed in here, which you'll see in a few minutes.
Sorry. It's been a while, but not having to worry. Because even though I knew nobody would judge me or whatever, just knowing that I would struggle to come up to the Emirates even before lockdown,
listen,
I just wouldn't have been able to do it. Whereas now,
you've done absolutely fantastic, and you got all those schooners behind you. People joining in the chat. Donna's already said hello, little Steve. So you'll have to change your Twitter handle. Not so little Big T. How are you, Tony?
Boys, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Hopefully you've all had a good summer. Try to distance yourself from the Arsenal and just enjoy the summer before the season starts and the whole next 9 months is ruined. But Steve, just a quick one, mate. Fair play to you. You look really well. Fergus, you're looking good as well, mate. I can't say the same about you in the top right-hand corner.
Listen, your one-man fan club's in there, Hilsey. Heath is there. He says, "Oh, how I've missed you." That's direct, straight at you. It is. That is. How are you doing, Trev?
Heath's in me good books at the minute. Heath's in me good books. Let's hope he stays there because I don't want to have to, chase him down again like last season. Steve, I think you've done amazing, mate. You look amazing. Just keep up the good work, mate. Keep at it now. Don't relax on it, mate. You'll keep getting stuck in some. We'll see you down the Arsenal soon. And Fergus, who's the bloke in the bottom left with a big mouth? Have I got to go and find him somewhere then, or what?
I think you might. I think you might find him in the pins on Sunday. Listen, Trev, myself and yourself, we got together with a load of the guys from the WhatsApp group and some other friends, Potsy and all, and we got to an away game. Some of us had met up in between on various different games, and I was lucky enough to go to the Rapid Vienna game, the Brighton game with yourself. But for the first time in 18 months, and I don't know what it felt like when I bumped into Potsy and Red Ken and Huggy at Liverpool Street before, and I had this little tingle that's just come on the back of my neck again, and it was just divine to get together and be together again. You went to a slightly different bar, but you did come down and meet us. Christ, did we have to walk a lot? Did we have to walk a lot?
Yeah, I tell you what, mate. It's it's meant to be in the west of the city. Quite accessible. But that wasn't the case, was it? It was a long walk to the ground, and then it was a hell of a long walk afterwards, wasn't it? I mean, they just shut all the underground stations. None of the stewards knew where we were going to go, which way to point us. So we just made our own way. After about, I don't know, it must have been a good half an hour, 40-minute walk, we found Chiswick Park Station. After we'd walked past about 3 or 4 other stations, and they let us in. So we was happy with that. But to be honest with you, the travelling to and from the stadium was the least of our worries after that performance. It was the least, but as you said, it was great meeting up with everyone again. I saw all the faces, managed to get around 3 or 4 different places and meet different people. It was lovely. It was just a lovely feeling, lovely atmosphere to be back amongst the Arsenal family, really, yeah.
Trev, when you say
and
you met all the
listen-
faces, obviously Sunday's going to be more important in it. It's, you know, you're looking forward to Sunday more.
I'm looking forward to the pint you're buying me on Sunday, Big T.
Listen. A big shout out to Dave Hurl. Dave unfortunately had kidney stones, and hence how I got a ticket. And I know Dave does tune in sometimes live, and sometimes I listens back on the audio. So thank you very much, much appreciated, mate. I do appreciate you thinking of me, and I managed to get there. The stadium is a new stadium. There was no beer in the stadium. Probably done you a favour, Trev, because you weren't drinking at all, were you? On that day,
I had 2 pints, mate. I had 2 pints all day.
yeah, but it's quite a long way up, isn't it? Don't you think? Into that stadium.
It's not normally, is it? But it just felt it, didn't it? Because we were in a bit of a rush to get in. There's very few turnstiles to let 17,500 away fans in, so we were queuing for quite a bit outside. And then we were right in the very back row of the stand, so we had to get up all the steps. At my age,
That's a fucking long walk up here, Furness, boy. You just carry on talking, I can't talk. I'm nearly 60 bastard years old. Swore, sorry. I'm nearly 60 years old. I'm knackered up here.
Apologies, that was the only bit of swearing that's allowed in it, but we were absolutely blowing out of our asses, weren't we?
it was a long way up there, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a long way up there, but it was good. I thought that the Arsenal fans within the stadium were really good. We were very loud and proud, and I've heard that it came across on the telly that the Arsenal fans were really quiet. And then I saw on social media this week, I don't know if it was you, was it, Tone? Might have been you. Someone put a picture on social media, and the TV companies had placed all the microphones around the ground that pick up the crowd sound. And the corner where the Arsenal fans are, they'd not put any out there at all. None at all. So it was obvious that the Brentford fans were going to sound louder. And I was a bit
It wasn't me, mate. It weren't me,
so?
but I see what you're talking about. But they do that at every stadium. Microphones are carefully placed at certain positions around the stadiums, which is why some grounds and some fans sound a lot louder than others, which is not always the case. It's not always the reality. But as you know, Sky and BT and the other TV companies, they'll dictate and have their favourites. So some always sound louder than others, mate.
Yeah, well, it does just need to be said, though, for the record, that the Arsenal fans did not let their team down on Friday night. They were loud, they were proud, and they were singing their heads off, to be honest, which got more and more difficult as the game went on to do. So, you know, they kept it up for most of the game.
Well, especially in the first half, I think. If I'm honest, I think in the first half, I would say we sung proud, and I've got some videos of the crowd singing, and then I swung round to yourself, and he's giving "Oh, Siddle is the old man," and it was just really enjoyable. Let's talk about the lineups. There was no Lacazette, there was no Aubameyang. What did we make of that, Tony? I'll come to you first. What did you make of no Lacazette, no Aubameyang?
Was a bit of a shock, mate. If I'm being totally honest, the news filtered through about, I don't know, just before midday that there was rumours that those two weren't going to play. Mysteriously, both come down with illness. There is a rumour going around there was a bit of an outbreak of COVID within the Arsenal camp, and it's been sort of kept hush hush because of Premier League policies. They obviously don't want another outbreak, but I don't believe it, mate. If I'm honest, there's more.
I don't believe that.
To it. No, there's more to it than meets the eye. I think Arteta's. I think there's been a bit of a falling out, whether it's because they're the older players and obviously Arteta is a younger manager. They can't quite grasp what he wants and vice versa. But they're both clearly got attitude problems. I would like to get rid of them and sort of start afresh. If I have to keep one, though, I'd rather keep Lacazette than Aubameyang. I think Lacazette offers more to the team, as we've discussed before. His overall gameplay is more suited to the youngsters. Aubameyang, you know, he's gone past the stage of now being just a phase, just a blip, you know, a dip in form. You know, he's had a good year now where he's been shocking. I must also say I don't think his brother helps whatsoever, because I think his brother's an absolute first class. See you next Tuesday. And I think it's very similar and reminiscent of the Anelka situation. I think he's a bit of a bad egg. And yeah, Aubameyang's attitude as well over the last sort of few months hasn't particularly been great, and his performances of players' attitudes will always you can always turn a blind eye to players' attitudes and off-field activities if their performance is on the field. If they go on, if they talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. If you don't walk the walk on the pitch, then you will be scrutinised, and that's life. Aubameyang, his performances, I don't think have been any real different over the last couple of years. The difference was he was scoring, so you could hide that. You could sweep his performances under the carpet because he was actually scoring goals still. At the moment, he's not doing neither, so you are going to be scrutinised. His off the field activities are going to be scrutinised. His relationship and what he does with his brother is going to be scrutinised. And I just don't. I think it's part ways.
I think there's a clause in his contract, and I don't know how public it is, but what my understanding is that when he signed that 3-year extension and he served 1 year of that extension, that if we didn't have Champions League football, never mind European football, he could actually break the contract, and he's technically in his final year. He can walk right now. Lacazette is in the same position. He's in his final year and can walk in January. So. Well, yeah, fine. If you don't want to wear it, go on, Trev.
Wait a minute, son. That's fine. He can have whatever he wants in his contract. He can have whatever he wants written into his contract. That's no excuse for the poor performances on and off the field. No excuse at all. No excuse at all. And Tony's right. Alba has scored goals, so and that was all we really wanted from a forward. And when he stopped, we noticed that there were other things that maybe could be improved in his game. And I don't talk too badly about players, and I don't really have a pop at them, but I do have an opinion on them, and I have quite a strong one on Aubameyang at the moment. I think that his antics on and off the field have not been up to the standard of Arsenal Football Club. Certainly not a captain of Arsenal Football Club. And when I heard that him and Laka weren't playing on Friday, I can honestly say that I thought, oh, okay. So they're not playing. We ain't going to be any worse. Actually, what came in and replaced them was clearly not ready for that game. But we weren't any worse because they've not been scoring goals and we didn't score any goals, So, yeah, I wasn't upset with them not being available.
And Steve, the replacement for Aubameyang and Lacazette is you watch the youth squad. We have the joke, chubby for the kids, da 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 da. But you watch the youth team a lot more than most of us, and you follow some of the unders and stuff like that. People have been screaming wildly about giving this guy a new contract. Balogun, he was given his opportunity. Myself personally, I didn't think he grasped that with both hands. And
no,
Sean, what was your thoughts of him in the lineup first of all, and then his performance?
I was pleased to see him starting simply because he was the only striker actually available. I would have thought Pepe may have gone in centrally and Saka would have started and been rushed back, or maybe Martinelli through the middle and Saka on the left or someone else on the left. So to see him get his chance, I thought it was nice. I thought it was good for him. But as much as I do like seeing the youth and do believe that there are some really talented youth players, the joke is there. It's a running joke, but I'm not unrealistic about it. I mean, I know in the past I've banged on about Eddie and I've now got a reputation for really liking Eddie. But if Eddie wasn't ill or injured, whatever it would have been, I would have 100% have had him in the lineup simply because in pre-season, I don't just as a disclaimer, I don't think Eddie Nketiah is good enough for Arsenal going forward. I don't think he's a bad player. I just don't think he's what we need, and I don't think his all-round game is as exciting as somebody like Balogun's. However, in pre-season, Nketiah was our best striker. And so I would have thought until somebody said that he was injured, he would have played. However, he didn't. Balogun got his chance. And no, I don't think he took it with both hands. But how much of that is, last minute being told, right, son, you're in. And I know there's going to be people saying, well, he's got to have the big game mentality if he's going to make it at the top level and everything else. But these are his Premier League debut, is it not? He's got a long way to go. He's got a lot of developing still to do, but as a raw talent, I think I think we'll see a lot more of him, and he will produce a lot more on the pitch this season.
Agreed. Ray has just put a question in the chat, and we will come back to this, Ray. Do we think Edu's done a good job at the Arsenal so far? Let's go through the Brentford game first of all, and we'll look ahead to the Chelsea game and some recruitment stuff. We're hearing breaking news about goalkeeper Ramsdale has also signed as well as Odegaard tonight.
He has signed.
Sky Sports News are reporting Tony.
And a fee's been agreed in principle. So obviously, yeah, it's just a medical, and then that'll obviously be.
Does it say how much the fee is?
No, there's various rumours, mate. From 18 million with add-ons to 20 million with add-ons to 24. But ultimately, do you know what? Although I'm not a big fan of Ramsdale, although I ideally didn't want him, why are we talking about money? For years we said we didn't care about money, and now all of a sudden it's a big problem. If Arteta wants him and he goes on to be a successful keeper, you've got to remember, although I'm not his biggest fan and I don't think he's great as a keeper, he's only 23. I don't give a monkeys about him getting relegated from teams. Maguire got relegated, Victor got relegated, Wijnaldum got relegated. They all turned out to be good players. So that argument ain't great for me. I personally don't think he's that great as a goalkeeper, and I thought there was other options available. But at 23, I can see why Arsenal are targeting him. I can see what they're trying to do, and I can see the profile they're trying to build at Arsenal with all these youngsters. So, do you know what? If it costs that money, and, you know, I know Ferg's got... Go on, Ferg, you talk about Leno, and because I want to bring something up regarding that.
Yeah, but to be honest, what I want to do is get this game out of the way, because everything's very fluid at the minute. So first and foremost, if we look at the areas that we're looking at, and Trev, I'll come to you first. If we break down the areas, you got defending, midfield, and forwards, and I know we had a quick chat about this yesterday. If we look at the defending overall, we had our new signing. Ben White, and we all three of our new signings got a run out at some point. But Ben White was playing. We also had Tierney, we had Mari, and we had Bellerin at right back. So quite surprised to see Bellerin playing, and then we had Leno between the six. But we didn't have much of a choice but to have Leno right now. What was your overall impression of that performance that we had from the defensive setup at the Brentford game, Trev?
Okay, well, for me, I've had lots of faith in Leno, but I'm starting to have a few doubts about him. You know, because I heard it said the other day, Leno's a great shot stopper. Well, a great shot stopper is not what Arsenal Football Club need, right? That a great shot stopper isn't what fits our format. If we're going to continue to play this playing out from the back, we need a different goalkeeper. But I was quite happy with watching Ryan in his couple of games last year. I thought that Ryan looked a different class. I thought he gave us a different look to our back line completely. I think they played as a better, more confident back four in front of him. So Leno, for me, he's had his chances. He's not bad, but I don't think he's quite good enough for us, and he certainly doesn't fit us at the moment.
Trev, can I just cut you up there? Obviously, you're saying about Leno not being good enough. Now, I looked at this from a different perspective. Now, for 2 seasons, he was arguably our player of the season in both years. He was very good. He was very good at the first half of last season. Martinez then goes, and all of a sudden, he's just like a Rocky Horror Show. Do you think that's a lot of it comes down to because he's got no challenge, he's complacent, he's got no worries, he knows he's going to be number one? Do you think because he's got no one really pushing him, all of a sudden the mindset's completely different? Because when you're being pushed, your rewards and what your performances on the pitch are far greater because you know there's no room for error.
It's really interesting point you make in that. No, I don't think it's necessarily that, Tony. Although we all perform. If we're all comfortable in what we do, we tend to drop our performances a little bit, don't we? That's life in general. But a couple of things that happened. One happened in the pre-season game against Chelsea at the Emirates, and one happened the other night against Bournemouth, I think. And Leno's got the ball at his feet, and he's looking to pass the ball out from the back, and Granit Xhaka is stood in front of him. Yeah. Well, Granit Xhaka's got players within 10 metres of him, yeah? And Granit Xhaka absolutely demanded the ball off of Leno. You can see him gesturing, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. And Leno gave him the ball. And both times, Xhaka lost the ball, and we very nearly gave a goal away. Very, very nearly gave a goal away. Now, I want a goalkeeper that's gonna look up and say to Granit Xhaka or any other of the players for that, on that thought, no, you're not getting the ball in this instance. We've been closed down. We've got the high press on. We'll go over the top and take our chances further up the field, And Leno tends to really delay and not decide when he's going to do that. And for me, I'm not going to talk about Martinez other than the fact that Martinez didn't do that. And Ryan, when I saw him, didn't do that. They were quick to read the situation. There's nothing on short. I don't care if a defender is demanding the ball. And I'll come back to Xhaka in a bit, but I don't care if a defender is demanding the ball. I'm not comfortable with us playing from the back in this situation. It's going over the top. So to cut things short, right, I want a goalkeeper that's going to be in charge, that's going to control. The goalkeeper's looking up the field. The defenders are looking back at the goalkeeper, so they don't necessarily see what goes on around them, yeah? So I want a goalkeeper that's going to look up the field and decide for himself what he's going to do with the ball. And he's not going to be told by the defenders what he's going to do with it. He's going to read the game and he's going to play it. And Leno don't do that very well, Tone.
No, mate, he hasn't. And in all fairness, I've stuck up for him a couple of times and I've criticised him and others. And, that instance you're talking about on Friday, I thought the pass there's nothing wrong with the pass to Xhaka. But then Xhaka decides to dilly-dally. We never seem to have the fluidity is not there. There's always someone that stops a play and decides to stand and wants a cup of tea. And you don't get that time on the ball in the Premier League. Across the pitch and across the squad, majority of our players just don't have that. They don't seem to have the quick thinking. You've got to be you've got to be thinking like, for instance, I played against people. I played over Roger Stewart's house, right, against older people, ex-professionals and everything. You turn up, they're all arrogant. You go, well, these players are old. These players are, they're slow now. They're past their best. They might be slow in their feet, but they're 10 seconds quicker up there. So by the time I've gone to him and shut him down and tried to make the tackle, he's already made the pass and move because he's 10 seconds quicker up there. And our players have got to learn to do that more in the Premier League because Xhaka's not the quickest and he's never going to adapt. He can't get quicker at his age. But what he can do is start thinking quicker in the brain. And if he's quicker up there, then the rest of his game will come. Friday was just an absolute embarrassment. Standing there on the ball, waiting to pass when he's got 2 or 3 men shutting him down. It's just ridiculous. And across the...
Wait, hold the Xhaka bit a minute. Hold the Xhaka bit because you're right on the line. You're right on the ball here, son. You're right on the ball. And I know where we're heading and I'm coming with you. But wait until Fergus asks us about the midfield, son. Just hold it a minute, yeah? Let him finish with the defence, yeah?
Yes, boss.
So defensively, Chambers and people are right. They said in the chat, Bellerin didn't start. It was Chambers that started. And Chambers came into a lot of criticism, in particular for the first goal. Now, it was at the other end from us, but I did watch the replay since. And to be honest, I think there was a bit of a complete mess. And Chambers was the last man before that shot was taken. Is he at fault, Steve, for that goal?
I've seen it a couple of times, and for me, it was just a very good shot. I mean, it was a mess. There was the scrambling on the line as it went back, and then kicking it out short, and letting him come into the box, and he shouldn't have been allowed to come into the box. That was where the issue lies. And I can't remember who was on the edge of the box who he dribbled past twice. That for me is where the issue is, because after that was an absolute rocket of a shot, and I thought it hit the side net when I first saw it. And so I think as a collective, the shot shouldn't have got away. But to blame it on an individual, considering the type of shot it was, I don't think you can point a finger. But just quickly on the goalkeeper front, Raya at Brentford, we were supposed to have got him last season. The start of last season, we didn't. Then he was apparently available in the January window. We didn't get him. And then, now he's a good keeper and he would be a fantastic number 2. I don't know whether he wanted to stay in January in case they went up. I don't know. But, agree on it with everything on Leno. Matt Ryan would have been good to stay, but he wanted first team football. And with Leno still here, there was no guarantee of that. And as Tony said, 2 years in a row, Leno was brilliant. And right now, whether Aaron Ramsdale does come in or not, he may not be the best option. He may be more expensive than what he's actually worth. But I tell you what, he's better than Runnison, and I'd rather have Ramsdale as second.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not sure on Ramsdale at all. So
No,
I watch Arsenal most people are unfair in fairness, but don't ruin the guy. The guy's 19 years of age, so give him half a chance.
No, I know. No, he's not as young as that, I don't think.
Well,
Aaron Ramsdale's 23. 23. But in goalkeeping terms, he's still relatively young.
Yeah.
Yeah, goalkeepers do get quite old. Mari, Tierney had a quiet game. I think he was running up and down the wing, putting some crosses in. Putting crosses in when we don't have a striker that will get their head on the end of the ball, it just seems a pointless task, to be honest. It's not his fault. He's doing the job he's doing. He didn't have a bad game. He didn't have an outstanding game, but he's in my top 3 players of the overall game. Go on, Trev, you're going to say.
I feel for Tierney. I honestly feel for Tierney, and you've nailed it there, Fergus. He works his socks off up and down that left-hand flank. I'd love to know how far he runs in a game, because he covers the full length of the pitch and he covers it for 90 minutes. He don't stop. And when you keep working that wide area, and you've got that to try and get the ball to, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? There's no one in the middle. There's no one in the middle that's going to get their head on a cross. I mean, Alba's been playing on the left anyway, and Lacker's about 5 foot, 5'2", and then we've got our young kids. We haven't got someone that can get their head on the ball, and that is what I've been saying for ages. I've said it again this week. All this talk about signing this and signing that, scoring goals or win. I know defending wins you games. Yeah, I know that, but scoring goals wins you a game, and we ain't had a goal scorer on form for a season and a half. A season and a half, we ain't had a proper goal scorer on form.
Whilst we're on that, would you guys have had Tammy Abraham? Would you have welcomed him at Arsenal?
100%. Ferguson's just letting know when he said about Tierney's crossing.
Yeah,
Abraham.
That's exactly it. The way that we play at the moment.
He's not elite now, but he's 23. He fits the profile of players we're looking at. Rumours have it Arteta's apparently really cheesed off that we haven't signed him.
Yeah, I would.
More comes out, especially for 30 million plus add-ons as well. It was an absolute still no-brainer.
Yeah, I would have. I mean, someone just mentioned Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He would be brilliant as well.
Again, a good player, but just we need to move a little bit. But Pablo Mari had an awful game. I don't think the pairing Mari and Ben White worked very well. Especially, you could see that for the second goal. They're both ball-playing centre halves. I think you need one to hold, like Gabby could do, or Holding could possibly do, and one to make the runs. Ben White, Trev. What did you make of Ben White's performance? And then I'll go to Tony, and then we'll move into the midfield and the forward line.
Well, I thought he'd done all right, Fergus. He's only been with us a couple of weeks. I don't even want to discuss his performance. He's got a couple of months of bedding in for me. Maybe he shouldn't have even been in the team yet. He should have still been learning all our stuff in training. But he is in, and he had a blinder against Chelsea, albeit in a pre-season friendly, and had an absolute blinder. So I'm not worried about Ben White at all. And people on social media have been starting to say, he weren't very good, he weren't this, he weren't that. How on earth do you come up with that conclusion? He's played 90 minutes of football. Give the lad a break. I've got no problem with Ben White at all. He's a young man coming into the side, and he will improve. There's far other worries within our football club than Ben White.
Tony, should he not be ball watching there? Should he have been closer to the ball? Should he? And for the benefit of people on audio, I've got a picture of the second goal, where the two Brentford defenders come up and muscle out Tierney, and Ben White's just standing there. It was a long throw.
I'm not.
But that's not.
No. Hang on, Trev. Let me qualify. It was a long throw. A long throw. It bounced funny, and I think the bounce caught him a little bit as well. Tony, come back, and then Trev, you can come in.
The picture doesn't do it justice and doesn't give the whole. You can't see the whole picture there, because when that ball's come across, now, regardless of whether I played Saturday football, Sunday morning football, whatever, even my keeper comes and claims that and takes the pressure for the things, or me as the tallest person clears that. I'll win that header and clear that. Now, either Leno's got to come and play that, or Pablo Mari's got to win that header. There's no ifs or buts about anything else. It's comical defending that is from numerous people. It's weak, physically weak. We was bullied, and just going back to Ben White, what Trevor was saying, I don't have a massive problem with Ben White. We sort of know what we're going to get with him. The only thing I would say that did worry me a bit was the aerial ability.
Tony, sort your microphone out. I'm gonna unplug it and plug it back in again, and then Trev, you challenged me on the Ben White on that still. What?
Yeah. Well, look at the picture again, folks. It's a picture. You don't know what Ben White's doing. If you look at that picture, the two Brentford attackers, and who's that at the back post? Is that Mari? They all look like they're ball watching as well. You can't make a judgment for that. There's Tierney on his own really, but you can't make a judgment from a picture on what's gone on there. You need to give Ben White a break. Get off his back.
No. I'm not. I'm just having the discussion, mate. That's all I'm doing. Tony, just say hello to us. Are you back in?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a bit crackly. That headset, that iPhone head, you pay 1,500 quid for a phone, and the earphones are rubbish. Let's move into the midfield, Steve. So we had Smith Rowe, we had Xhaka, and we had Lokonga in the midfield. Smith Rowe obviously playing the more forward of those three. Xhaka, move on. Look, let's look at Lokonga. Let's try and keep it upbeat and look at all negative things. Lokonga, for me, didn't set the world on fire, but what he did do is when he broke the play up, he did actually pass the ball forward, not sidewards, not backwards.
Yeah. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of a blend of El Neni and Partey. He moves forward. He tries to drive with the ball. Defensively, positionally, he's fairly sound. Didn't in the games he's played, he hasn't seemed to put a foot wrong. Partey sometimes will try and overplay a pass or will overplay a shot or something. So he hasn't quite got that, but I think that maybe just because he's young, he's sort of bedding in. He doesn't want to do anything too risky. But defensively and positionally, he seems quite sound. He's like a blend of the two, quite steady, never going to set the world alight, but also, not quite as adventurous as Partey is. I like him. I thought he had a solid game considering.
Now, Trev, we talked continuously throughout the game. You more than me, actually, this time for once, because you complained about me talking so much and singing so much of the Brighton game. But you weren't very happy with, obviously, Leno we discussed already, but you weren't very happy with Xhaka at all. Do you want to explain a little bit more on that?
Firstly, stick on Lokonga, right? For a second, Lokonga, 21 years old, coming into the Premier League. I thought he was solid enough. Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. It's only summed it up. Terry summed it up perfectly there. He weren't spectacular, but he didn't worry me at all. Now,
nope.
Right. So you asked me about Xhaka. Now, I'm not going to mention anything about Xhaka other than his football, right? Let's put everything else to one side. Let's forget what we've been going on and on and on about now for a long time. That's done. Let's put that aside and say it's done, right? Let's look at the man as a footballer, right? And I think the problem with him his main problem is he actually thinks he's a bit better than he is, Mm-hmm. He actually thinks he's better than he is. He's got this no stuck up in the air attitude that he's like, he's a bit of a player, but actually he's all right at doing the basics, but he ain't a lot better than that. And as a creative midfielder, don't forget he's not our midfielder defensively. He's meant to be our creative midfielder. He's very poor indeed. Now, the only two players that come away, well, two of the main players that come away with any amount of credit on Friday night were Smith Rowe and Saka. Smith Rowe ran his socks off all game, and Saka ran his socks off when he came on. And I don't think they got the ball hardly at all from Granit Xhaka, who should be feeding him. You know, he demands the ball from players in areas where he shouldn't be demanding the ball, because Tony said it earlier, he's not good enough on the ball to have the ball in them closed down areas and do something with it. And he's not, he doesn't get us forward. We don't move freely enough, you know. This is only my opinion, when people are when the other players are watching Granit Xhaka get the ball, if you were playing in the same side as Granit Xhaka and he got the ball, what would you be thinking? He's going to go square here. He's going to go square. I'm not going to make a run because it's highly unlikely I'm going to get the ball. Yeah? And he should be our player that moves that ball from the back four or back five through the midfield and off to our very exciting, you know, attacking midfield players. He should be moving that ball quickly, and he's not doing it. He's too slow, and he moves the ball too square, and his major problem is he thinks he's a lot better than he actually is. Heath, yeah, do you know, I was just seeing Heath's comment to finish off. Heath, yeah, he did have a decent European Championship, but the European Championship ain't no Premier League, mate. European Championship ain't no Premier League.
Did you guys see the picture of when Granit Xhaka passed the ball out to Tierney and there was 3 players running in the box? He could have threaded either one of those balls, and instead he put it out to Tierney. You crossed it, and we lost it.
Truls, a friend of the show, also put up our midfield could be Lokonga Odegaard. He's Norwegian, so he does have he's got a stiffy for the for the Norse, the Scandinavians, and Saka, ESR, and Pepe. That 5 in the midfield. Not for me. Tony, do you want to carry on from where you were talking about Xhaka and lead us into Pepe and his performance?
Just on Truls' comment there, technical ability-wise, I've got no problem with that midfield. But in terms of physicality and power, pace, it'll just get bullied. It'll just get absolutely run all over by the bigger sides, the more physical, powerful sides. It's not good enough. In terms of Xhaka, Xhaka's a bit of an enigma. I look at him and I think on his day he's a good player, and he's shown it in certain games, FA Cup finals against Kante. But it's all individual games. There's no real consistency. Now this goes on to what Trev said about Xhaka being. He thinks he's a lot better than what he is. If he had a different mindset, Xhaka, and I used an example a couple of years ago after the armband incident with the clapping of the fans. Jordan Henderson had something very similar to him happen at Liverpool. Jordan Henderson didn't hide. He put his head down. He worked his absolute socks off. He gave his all for the team. Now Xhaka has to do something similar to if he's going to be a success at Arsenal and turn things around, which doesn't look like it's going to be the case. He has to stick his head down, work hard, work probably harder than anyone else on that pitch. But being Luxy Daisy, being a bit like away with the fairies, he's no good in the Premier League because you're going to get picked off every single time. You've got to be on your toes. You've got to be looking around your shoulder. You've got to know what you've got in and around you. So when you receive that ball, you know exactly what you're going to be doing. This is, again, about forward thinking, about the top players will know what they're going to be doing 10 seconds before they receive that ball. And that separates the elite players from the average players. Now, Xhaka for Switzerland's a very decent player. But for Arsenal, he's not. And that whole mindset of Xhaka has got to change, because otherwise we're just going to be talking about the same stuff for the rest of his contract. Dilly-dallying on the ball, losing the ball, giving away mistakes, chances, goals, etc., etc. Only he can change it. And if I'm honest, although I've stuck up for him a number of times over the years, I can't see him changing. I can't see it change. I think we're going to be talking about this for the rest of his Arsenal career.
And your thoughts on Pepe and his performance? I know I've not been a big fan of Pepe for a while. I call him a one-legged donkey. There's some people in the chat think he's fantastic, and he did score a few goals for us at the latter end after Christmas last season. But I'm still not convinced he's good enough to be an Arsenal player. Although, what level are we at the minute?
But to be, I don't think Pepe had a great game Friday. I really don't think he had a great game. I've been looking forward to Pepe this season. I'm hoping he's still going to prove me wrong or continue to prove me wrong, because after Christmas, his whole persona, his attitude changed. And I'm not just talking about the goals and the assists. I'm talking about his defensive work rate, his build-up play. He looked fitter, stronger after that red card against Leeds. But on Friday, I thought he was poor. I thought, in all fairness, apart from Lokonga, Tierney and Smith Rowe, they're the only three people that could have walked off that pitch with their heads held high on Friday. The rest of them, I thought, were really disappointing and poor. And Pepe, in and around with the kids, he was that leader. He should have been that leader. He didn't want to know. As soon as a couple of tackles come in and the crowd... Go on.
I watched him do step over after step over after step over, as you did, Trev, on Friday night. I also watched the West Ham game on Sunday lunchtime. I watched St. Maximum do step over after step over after step over and do Damien Rice in like a proper kipper, put a great cross in, and they score a goal. Pepe is nowhere near that standard, Trev, is he?
Ferg, just a quick one, mate. You've got to start sorting your names out. Damien Rice.
Declan Rice. Damien Rice is yeah.
Yeah, you and bloody names, I'll tell you.
He ain't a footballer.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. It's part of the show. It's part of the show.
See,
Trev.
Pepe started to fill me with a bit of hope towards the back end of last season. He genuinely did fill me with a bit of hope. But looking at the game on Friday and putting it on its own, the game on Friday, he was awful. He was worse than bad. He was awful. And do you know what? I actually think he was trying, but I just don't think he was good enough. He kept running up a blind alley, and every time someone come near him, he got tackled and lost the ball. And he kept losing the ball and losing the ball and losing the ball and losing the ball. It wasn't a one-off. It went on most of the bloody nights, you know? Hello, Ben. All right, mate. You're not wrong there, mate. But
Ben, you've just ruined me.
Pepe was very bad on Friday night. Very bad indeed. He was probably in the. You could probably make a case for him being our worst player on the field on Friday night. He was that bad, Pepe. He was that bad.
The player I'd like to talk more about, and the player who I thought had the best game of all and was my man of the match. I don't know if he's going to get replaced by our Norwegian friend, but Emil Smith-Rowe. I got that one right, didn't I, guys? Sorry, look, everyone's just ruining me in the chat. I got Terry going, right, isn't it's potato is more an Irish product. Yeah, thank you, Terry. Smith-Rowe, Steve, what did you make of Smith-Rowe's performance? You would have seen him playing for the youth, how well he was. We saw him at the latter half of last season, how fantastic he was. And he's just filling those boots. He's got that number 10 shirt. He's grasping that contract and going for it, isn't he?
I've liked him a lot for ages. I thought he was brilliant at Huddersfield as well. Let's not forget. People were questioning whether or not he could step it up early last season. And I think, you know, even Arteta, even the management were questioning whether or not he could step it up. But I think after seeing 6 months of Willian, we had to give him a chance. And I'm so glad we did, because the kid hasn't looked back. He has not looked back. We as fans have not looked back. He, you know, even if things aren't coming off for him, he is always trying to get forward, do something. He's not afraid to get back and put a foot in. He can go wide if the play's going out wide to give an offer, you know, offer an overlap or offer a run on the inside. He's just relentless. He doesn't stop, and that's a very good point. You know, he could be like Saka was last season, when we were all saying, oh, he's knackered. He's played 40 odd games, and this is by like March. He's playing out of his skin, and he's playing at such a high intensity. Yes, he's young, so he can do that, but it's a lot. And I think my one worry with Smith-Rowe this season is the pressure. And the same with Saka. Not so much that I think Saka will deal with it well, especially after the Euros and after the support he got. I think Saka's gonna really, really be good. But Smith-Rowe, I think if he can handle that pressure and handle that expectancy, I think we've got another hell of a player on our hands. And I don't think Ødegaard is gonna I don't think Ødegaard's going to replace him. I think Ødegaard will probably play out wide a little bit more. I don't think Smith Rowe will be shoved out wide if he plays like he did on Friday. I think Ødegaard will be the one filling that right hand side, especially if Pepe does perform like he did, or if Martinelli's not playing on the left and Aubameyang goes. The good thing with the thing I like about Ødegaard is his flexibility. Keep Emil Smith Rowe as a central attacking midfielder, as a number 10, because he dictates the play. Even if things aren't coming off, he doesn't drop back and sit there and sulk like a previous number 10. He is, I love him. I was almost going to get his name on the shirt, but I couldn't.
Steve, you just talking about
paying another 20 quid.
You just talking about Smith Rowe there. Do you know what my biggest worry regarding Smith Rowe is? And it's got nothing to do with the man himself. It's about what's in front of him. I watched him Friday night. How many times did he get that ball and strive forward? He's striving forward and he's got no pass, he's got no options. And you're thinking, he's carrying that ball when he's waiting for the pass, he's waiting for the pass. And
he still did it. He still went the next time.
He's going to be judged on goals and assists because he's in that position where he's going to be judged on goals and assists. If our strikers don't deliver and he ends up with no assists, people are going to go, he's crap. Well, he wasn't crap. People in the WhatsApp group saying he's 2 out of 10, he's crap, ain't worth 5 million, and deluded, right? His performance Friday was top notch, but he won't get the credit because we didn't win. We didn't win because he didn't get the assist. He didn't get the credit because he didn't get a goal. That's not necessarily his fault because he done everything he could for us to win. It was players around him that didn't do the job. The strikers, there was no movement there. And now I'm including Martinelli, I'm including Balogun, and I'm including Pepe there. I just worry that his biggest problem this season may not be down to him. It may be what's in front of him.
Possibly.
I agree with you, Tony. And Balogun was poor in the first half, and he was taken off, and he was replaced by Saka. Trev, we were there, and we saw. There were 16,500 people there. They made more noise than Wembley Stadium between the Arsenal fans and the Brentford fans, despite what the media say. And the welcome that man got, totally deserved, for one, his ability, two, the crap he dealt with by some of the knuckle-dragging idiots, and three, the bravery of standing up and take a penalty, the last penalty for the Euros, in the Euros. His performance was outstanding, I felt, and I think he lit up Smith Rowe. He helped Martinelli, who looked a little bit tired, probably from the Olympics. It was probably a bit of an early call-up for him. But what was your overall, just to finish up on the Brentford game, your overall feeling of, one, the welcome of the Brentford fans to him and his performance?
Look, right, we can't move on. I'll sum up what's just been said, and I'm going to agree with Big Tony again. I've managed to avoid it all night, but I'm going to agree with him. But when we've said this, we must talk about our forward power, Fergus, what happened in forwards, because it's very important. But Smith Rowe ran up and down the field all night and had nowhere to go. No one running off him, no one to give the ball to, nowhere to go. Kieran Tierney ran up and down the line all night and had no one to cross to, nowhere to put the ball in. Bukayo Saka, who I've loved ever since I was fortunate enough to see his senior debut when he came on as a substitute a few years ago in Kiev, right? Bukayo Saka got a welcome he deserved from both sets of fans, right? Because not only has he been through a rough time and he deserved that welcome, but he got a welcome deserving of a player of his standard because he's good to watch. And when he came on, he lifted us again. And him and Smith Rowe were together running their socks off, And what I've always said, right, I want to see Arsenal win every game of football. Every single game of football, I want them to win. But if I come out of a ground and I think that football club, those players on that field have given me everything they possibly had. They left nothing. They left everything on the field, brought nothing off with them. Then I'm not going to be too disappointed. And the only players I could say that about on Friday night were Smith Rowe, Saka, when he came on, and Kieran Tierney. And that's not enough. 3 out of the 11 ain't going to win us games, So we talked a lot about Smith Rowe, Tierney, Saka, but we can't move on from the Brentford game until we talk about our lack of firepower up front, Ferguson. I'll start you off. I'll carry on, mate, and I'll sow the seed for you three boys to pick up on. Right, we've already spoken about Pepe. Pepe was horrendously poor. Right, he tried. I honestly think Pepe had tried, but he just didn't seem good enough. They'd worked him out. Balogun, we've been calling for Balogun, and it was only for his first game, so we have to give him a bit of grace. But he was like he weren't there. He weren't there. He just wasn't available to take the ball off of Smith Rowe or Saka or Tierney, and he just didn't do it. And as for Martinelli, the only thing I can think of with Martinelli was he must have been tired after returning from the Olympic Games, because he was in the same league as Balogun. They were both very and Balogun, Pepe, and Smith Rowe were Balogun, Pepe, and Martinelli were all really poor. And when we've got three players up the front in the front third of the field playing that poor, we don't win games, and we're not even in games, and we weren't in the game on Friday. So we've got major problems up front because they were the replacement for our so-called grade A strikers in Laka and Alba. And I wasn't even upset that Laka and Alba weren't playing. So we're in a mess up front. I said it at the start of the show, and I'll say it again now, and I've said it for ages now. Our biggest thing we need is a big, bad, mad, horrible centre forward that's going to make the runs, demand the ball, and hold the ball up and set up and score some goals. We need that badly.
I can't disagree with you at all on that, Trev. We've been lacking that for the last season. Aubameyang, he scored 14, 15 goals in all competitions last season. He just, we talked about Calvert-Lewin. There's talked about Tammy Abraham, who's now at Roma. Who out there, Steve, would you see as a replacement centre forward going forward? And then we look at the Chelsea game after that.
The one I would like that's sort of realistic but kind of not realistic would probably be Calvert-Lewin. I think because I've got a mate who's an Everton fan, a good mate, so we'd often be on Xbox or whatever, and we'd have the Everton game on and the Arsenal game because everything was so accessible last season. And I thought, he tailed off towards the end of the season, but their team fell apart. But he has pace. He's very good in the air. He's very good with the ball at his feet. He's English, so that goes in his favour now. And then England international.
It doesn't go in theirs though, does it? Because the English international, you're going to be talking double the fee. You probably need 70, 80 million.
Of course, but I mean, but a lot of clubs are happy to pay that now because of the homegrown quotas. And the Premier League cracking down on how many foreign players, big money foreign players are coming into the league. So I would really like Calvert-Lewin. If we're looking abroad, and we're judging on Charles is obviously mentioning Haaland. Haaland would be fantastic, but never happening.
We might fix his dad.
His dad, maybe, yeah.
I liked the look of Patrick Schick in the Euros, and he didn't have a bad Polish.
Polish? Was he Polish?
Patrick Schick is Polish, yeah.
I did watch the Euros. I'm Irish.
Names, nationalities. I'll tell you what, Ferg.
They all look the same, mate.
I liked him. I think now though, a lot of people were saying in the off season about Andre Silva, and I think he's a good player, but he's just short. He's that Aguero style striker, which obviously can work, and you can be prolific and you can be good on the ball. But if we're playing a game, and if Arteta does keep his job and does stay, we can't be having a main striker that's under 6 foot. We need somebody that can do it both, whether that be in the air or on the ball. And I think somebody like a Calvert-Lewin, somebody like a Patrick Schick, Haaland, that sort of, obviously we're not going to get it, but that sort of player, that sort of, sorry, he's not Polish, he's Czech. Matt's just, yes, that's right. He's Czech, not Polish. I would like him, and I don't think it'd be a lot of money. Calvert-Lewin would be fantastic. But yeah, there's not. There doesn't seem to be a hell of a lot out there available. It's either
I'll tell you there's one person you could pick. There's a
Dembele?
lot of no. Obviously, you get your Edouard, who's only 15, 18 million, Jokovic at Real Madrid, etc. One person who may not see a lot of minutes this season over at PSG is Mario Icardi. I'm a big fan of his. I don't know how much, but I can't see him getting too many minutes the way PSG are going to be sort of set up to play. He's going to be their backup striker.
If Mbappe goes. There's talk that Mbappe goes. If Mbappe goes, Icardi will play as the 9. But yeah, great shout.
I'm a big fan of his. I like the likes of Jokovic at Real Madrid, Edouard at Celtic. They're sort of cheaper alternatives, certainly Edouard. But if you're talking at a big fella, you're talking of Icardi, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Even there's another cheaper fella that people keep mentioning on Weghorst.
He's a lot. A lot of people mention Weghorst.
I wouldn't personally.
He's not agile enough. He's good in the air, but he doesn't offer the agility. And I think if you're playing with, the one thing Giroud, considering he was the one thing Giroud was very good at was playing back to goal. People talk about Lukaku and how poor his first touch is. He's big, he's a lump, but he's good on the ball and he's good back to goal.
Right, listen, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here, listening to you two boys waffling on for a minute, right?
It's the Steve and Tony show. It's the big show. You're watching the big podcast.
I'm going to play devil's advocate, Fergus, in that if you were I'm going to do it again. I did it just now. If you were a centre forward playing for Arsenal, and you had the so-called midfield playmaker that's going to play the ball, meant to be playing the ball forward that we've got, how enthusiastic would you be about making the runs? When you've got someone playing behind you that they've got space in front of them to play the ball forward, but they still turn. Actually, they don't play the ball back from facing backwards. They'll be facing forward with space in front of them, and they'll turn and play the ball sideways and backwards. As a forward, how enthusiastic would you be about playing in front of that? Just devil's advocate.
I'd be less enthusiastic, but at least the ball's going sideways to somebody like Callum Chambers or Kieran Tierney who can actually get across it, as opposed to Bellerin and Kolasinac. So swings and roundabouts.
Nothing wrong with Bellerin.
Go on, Steve.
I totally get your point, but yeah, we need someone that can do both. We need someone that can come deeper, play the ball, be comfortable with the ball at their feet,
or do we need two strikers, a plan A and a plan B?
Our plan B is apparently one of Lacazette or Aubameyang, yeah.
Listen, guys. Before we finish, myself and Trev will know about this. At halftime, there was no beer at the halftime at the Brentford game, and we are moving on to the Chelsea game, and then going to finish up there afterwards. But at halftime, there was a steward that came up to myself and Trev, and he goes, "All right, lads." And Trev politely said, "I'm not in the mood to talk to you," as he would. And he said, "Are you happy with the score?" I said, "Well, it's 1-0. Of course, we're not happy." And he said something along the lines, "Well, I'm not really interested. I want to draw. I've got no benefit here." I said, "Who do you support then?" He said, "I'm a Man United fan." And I went, "Okay." And I said, "I can tell by the accent, London accent, he would be a Man United fan." Which was fine. Myself and Trev then vacated that area and we talked among ourselves and went back to our seats. I left down a different stairwell from Trev, and he was on the stairwell that I was on, going, "Evening, lads. Evening, lads. Have a nice evening, Arsenal fans." And I thought, how lucky is he to be alive today? You just need an idiot. Trevor, you saw who the guy was. You just need an idiot to be very annoyed, Tony, and just rearrange his teeth for him.
Well,
this is something that Brent...
Yeah. You should just tell
What's that?
You should have just did what I did and told him to bugger off.
Was that what you said?
Well, it was along those lines.
I must admit, I did go up to one of their other stewards and got one of the seniors involved and said that guy shouldn't be in the home end. Shouldn't be in the away end. He should be in the home end. Guys, Chelsea. We got Chelsea on Sunday, 5:30. First home game of the season. We've started the season with our first away opener for 21 years. what do you think about our home opener, Tony?
Hello, Tony. Are
He's
you
gone.
there?
You are called.
Sorry, mate. I had a little bit of a freeze there, mate. Apologies. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to Sunday, mate. Well, I am. I'm looking forward to the whole day up until 4:30. Again, we've discussed this for the last year, 2 years, 3 years. Again, it just depends what Arsenal turn up. Arsenal could quite easily turn up and beat Chelsea Sunday. It wouldn't be a great surprise to me. But then on the other hand, we could turn up and lose 3 or 4-0. And again, that wouldn't be a surprise to me. The only thing I would say for all the faults and flaws of Arteta, big game results have improved. We haven't lost against United under, obviously, Arteta. A record against Chelsea is pretty good under Arteta. And that's all I've got to go on, mate. I'm trying to cling on to the positives. Yeah. But yeah, again, like I say, Arsenal could turn up and win. Wouldn't be a surprise. We could lose 3 or 4-0 and it wouldn't be a surprise. You just turn up. It's a bit of a lottery at the moment with Arsenal.
Steve, you'll never have witnessed Arsenal in this sort of state. To be fair, because of when I started supporting Arsenal, I've not really witnessed Arsenal being in such a state as they are results-wise and team-wise, because I started when 93, so we were starting on the up again.
I was just on the way into this world, 93.
So what's your thoughts and expectations and score predictions we'll do afterwards? What's your thoughts and expectations for the game? Final question then, rather than answering that one, does Lacazette and Aubameyang start?
No. It's middle of the week and we're being told they're still ill. Oh, see you later, Tony. It's middle of the week and we're being told they're ill. If they're still ill today, better not risk them on Sunday. Don't. If it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to rush them back in if they couldn't play last week and they were still ill earlier on. Don't rush them back, because if they are genuinely ill, they're not going to be 100% for the game. And if they're not genuinely ill and there's something else going on, get them out. Either sort your heads out and work your way back in, couple of weeks worth of training, work hard, or get them out. So there's no middle ground. I wouldn't have either of them start. But expectation wise, I just don't want us to get thrashed, and I want every player that's on that pitch to at least try. That's Chelsea are a very good side now. Last season they were a decent side and we beat them in the new year, or Boxing Day even. We've got to at least try and get something from it. If we don't, and everybody's putting 100%, you go, oh, that's naff. We go again next week and hope for the same against City. But anything, again, it's Arsenal. Anything can happen. it's strange, but I just want the team to try, and I don't want an absolute drop-in.
Trev, I will see you in the pins. There will be loads of people that we don't know at the game because it's been released to friends and family in general sale. When is the last time you've seen a Category A game, as they call them, be released to general sale?
Look,
wow.
Firstly, Fergus, right? We've done enough of being down tonight. We've done it to bits. We've pulled the Brentford game apart. So that's it. That's done. That's gone now. If we're proper Arsenal fans, we're now looking forward to Chelsea, right? And the stadium ain't going to be full on Sunday. It's going to be nowhere near full. It wouldn't surprise me if some Chelsea fans ain't got hold of some tickets all over the stadium, because Arsenal have been trying to get rid of them left, right, and centre. So that'll be interesting. But I don't really care. I'm going to be at the game. I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm going to watch my team and I'm going to cheer them till I can't shout again. And if we get beat again, we get beat again and we'll all moan again. But I'll still be there the following week again, doing it all over. I honestly think we might show a pair of balls against Chelsea and lift our game a bit and actually perform a bit, Who knows? Who knows? We can't really say what's going to happen against Chelsea because we ain't got a clue, because that Brentford game was a strange do. But, let's lift it a bit. We're Arsenal fans. We'll be there on Sunday. We'll shout our team on and we'll shout them on again the following week, win, lose or draw. So I'll see you in the pins, Fergus. I'm going to let you buy me a beer, which is highly unusual. I cannot wait to get a photograph of Big T and Little T. It's going to be absolutely hilarious.
That's going to be funny. That's going to be funny.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, as I said, and I said it about 4 times in the last 2 minutes, I'll make no apology for it. I'll say it again. We're Arsenal fans. We've rightly pulled the Brentford game apart. Rightly. Because Arsenal were poor, and we're entitled to do that. We've not been rude. We've not shouted and sworn and abused anybody. We've given opinions on what was a bad Arsenal performance, and we're right to do that. But that's gone now. Real Arsenal fans, the real Arsenal fans, will be right up for the game against Chelsea, and we will be at it. And I'll tell you now, Fergus, the reason they've not sold all the tickets for Sunday is because they're trying to charge Champions League stand prices for League One standard football, and that don't wash.
Correct.
People are not going to pay £100 a ticket to watch an average team play. If Arsenal pick it up and get in the Champions League again, they'll sell it out every week again. Arsenal have been silly. They've kept the prices high. They've kept the games categorised, and they're going to pay the price. Now, if you look on a website, like I did tonight, for the following home game against Norwich, which is the tickets are a lot cheaper because it's a lower category game, it's nearly sold out, Fergus. It's nearly sold out. So that just tells you the proof is there. People are going to pay to watch the Arsenal if they're paying the right price for the standard of football that we're playing. £100 a game to watch the Arsenal play at the moment, they're not worth it. Not worth it.
No.
People won't pay it.
I agree. I think the last time we had low attendances like this was like post the League Cup with Wenger. And like our seats where we're North Bank lower ones, the cheapest ones, and they're like 65 quid. I know the ones that are on sale for friends and family just above us are 85 quid. And there's some, if you go on the halfway line, upper tier towards the forward area, £120 for a ticket. If you are lucky enough to be able to afford to do that with your kid, that's fantastic. But so many people that don't have memberships and don't have the ability to have access, don't have the network of people that we might know to get tickets via season ticket holders, etc. They're going to look at that and go, Jesus. If you look at dad and 2 kids, that's 360 quid plus the travel, plus the shirt that they're going to do and everything. They're looking at £500 or £600 for a day out. They can go on holidays. Well, not nowadays, but you can go on holidays somewhere for that. Listen, guys, I don't think I'm going to even bother doing predictions because, listen, my prediction is that we have a good day out, and we'll start off in the pins. We'll end up probably in the Eaglet, and there's a protest beforehand at 3 p.m. If people do want to go there to that, it's outside on the Bear Roundabout, outside the Armoury at 3 p.m. Nothing more to say. Trev, did you have anything final to say?
Yeah, we must touch on Kroenke a little for a minute, Fergus. We must do because it's high profile at the moment, and my views are that I went to the last protests at the Emirates, but I wasn't protesting about the money the Arsenal are spending. I don't care where it's come from. We have spent money. What I'm protesting about is the way it's been spent, and I'm also protesting that I want an owner that cares about Arsenal Football Club, right? That's engaged with Arsenal Football Club, that turns up to games and stands there and puts a red and white scarf around his neck and actually cheers when we score a goal. And he's actually there at games when we're struggling and stands up and says, well, we're going to try and improve this. And he's actually coming and seeing the players and saying, this is one family club. Because you see, in life, right, Fergus, energy and enthusiasm and commitment starts from the very top, right? Because if you're at the very top of something, you should be that leader. You should be setting the examples. You should be showing what we need to do. And if we ain't got a man at the top doing that, then the players are not going to get the enthusiasm either. You know, so it starts at the top and it works its way down. And that is why I don't think Stan Kroenke or the Kroenkes are any good to lead our club. Take the money out of it. You don't need to talk about the money. You can talk about the people. The people ain't the right people. I want committed people leading my great football club, the Arsenal.
Totally agree. Tony, thanks very much for joining us again. I'll see you in person, although you don't remember the last time. I'll see you in person this time for a beer prior to the Chelsea game. Big Steve, I know you come up in a few weeks' time, hopefully to a game, or in about a month's time or whatever. Hopefully so. Thanks for joining us.
Ferg, sorry, mate. Just before you finish up, the rogue in the corner. You know the rogue in the corner. Make sure he's got his wallet. Make sure, whatever expenses you give him for doing this podcast, give it to him early, because I want not one beer, not 2 beers. I want 3 beers. 3 beers for Trev. Oh, yeah.
I'm on a bloody pension. 3
beers. I'm paying for that
pension.
I'm paying for that state pension. Now I want my money back.
I don't get a state pension. I earn my pension, sunshine. Earned it right.
Oh, you're such a rogue.
Ferguson, we having him on every week, this bloke, because he's doing me head in.
Not sure yet. That's the first edition, I think. Guys, listen, we've had plenty of people join us over the time. The numbers have crept up and down, but the numbers have crept up. I do ask you to like and subscribe us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Facebook, Instagram, we are Guns and Yellow Ribbons. On Twitter, we're Guns and Ribbons because of character numbers and everything else. And on YouTube, we're Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Also, myself and Trevor recorded a number of episodes. It was 8 episodes, about 10 hours of the Arsenal history podcast. For me personally, it was truly enlightening. I learned loads about it. Mark and Andy from the arsenalhistory.com done a fantastic job in helping us along there, showing me my error of my ways on many occasions, even Trev a couple of times. But it was really enjoyable. That's on our YouTube channel under the Arsenal History playlist. Check that one out as well. We are an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Hope you've really enjoyed the show. We will carry on doing these throughout the season. 4-0. He's gone 4-0. I'm not even going to go there. 2-1 loss.
No.
2-1 win. 2-1 win. Okay, I'll go 1-0 for the Arsenal. Just that's that, not that. Steve, might as well.
1-1.
Okay.
Heathen swine.
Who's this negative Nigel?
You've been listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons and Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too.